You are listening to Time for Talkos with Ken and Cadence, a ZTOTV podcast.
Hey everybody, I'm Ken.
I'm Cadence.
And you're sitting here with us with Time for Talkos. And we're joined tonight by Carrie and Trent, Joel, Mike, known as Taco, tonight.
Oh, nice.
And our topic tonight is going to be going over the recent DOD, Department of Defense, disclosure of UFOs. And not saying aliens, but they're saying it's definitely something they can identify. So that's what we're going to go over tonight. And I know that back in 2013, we had a citizen hearing on disclosure that we had some experts and leading officials that went ahead in front of other former members of Congress to discover and disclose activity that's been going on over the years. And nothing really came out of that. But Carrie, have you seen these videos that they put forward?
I have, and I think they're incredible. I mean, that would be a very difficult thing to fake, I think, in that way. And how fast everything's going. I mean, and as good as our equipment is, we had trouble in a few of these videos even locking onto these things. So I think I was very shocked to see this. These had obviously been, people were saying they'd been released before, but this is the first time I had seen them since I saw them in the news recently, and I was blown away by the footage.
Well, before we get too deep with this, I know I kind of jumped the gun, but real quick, who here believes in UFOs?
I do.
I do.
Everybody? Can everybody come to an agreement that we believe in UFOs? Anybody that does not believe in UFOs?
I've never seen one. I've never seen one myself.
I have kind of like an interesting ideology in regards to aliens and UFOs. I believe that they do exist. However, I don't think that we've actually physically have seen them. Okay.
All right, fair enough. Anybody else?
I've never seen a UFO.
Joel, have you ever seen one?
If I can't tell what it is, it's UFO to me.
Oh, Cadence, have you?
Well, I have never seen a UFO, but I have definitely seen weird things and have had weird things happen that I'd say definitely extraterrestrial. So, I mean, I don't knock it. I kind of believe it. And if, our special Air Force people are kind of like, what the fuck is that? I mean, I think we should all be that way too.
Right. Did you see the recent videos that they released?
I saw them. That's
they just released
crazy.
Them? Yeah. Did you see the interview that he did? He did a lot of interviews. Did you see them?
I watched the one with Rogan, I believe. And they were all kind of stunned out from it. Like, I'm still kind of stunned.
Yeah. Did anybody else see the interview that Air Force pilot had? Navy Air Force pilot?
Yeah. I did. And I could definitely tell that he was shook by the whole thing. I really don't think that I think the reactions in the videos and everything, I think kind of proves the validity of what they're saying. Especially the one where they're showing how it's rotating and everything. That was where it was close up. I think that was the best one, in my opinion. I believe that they do exist. I think as vast as the universe is, I think it's stupid to think that we could be the only living things that exist.
Yeah.
So I am definitely a firm believer. I've never seen anything myself, but I think the consistency of the sightings and everything are definitely proof that they are.
I always wonder, if they're actually aliens. Like, who's to say that the military ain't testing stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they got new technology and they're seeing how the locking system works on.
Yeah, just like the bombers that they had back in when Area 51 first started opening up. They used it as a testing facility.
They studied it as the bombers.
Yeah.
It could also be one of the space stations, like a mere Russian satellite. It could be a U.S. old satellite from the 60s, possibly falling. I mean, that's what happened to Skylab in '82, I believe.
Mhm.
So who knows?
Could be a bunch of pilots just pranking people.
Well, that's what the
Maybe.
one.
That's always a possibility. You got to.
Could be.
Yeah,
gotta
that's what
admit.
that Air Force pilot said he did. Is at nighttime they used to do those kind of runs to freak out the campers out in the way back out in the boonies that just camping out in the middle of nowhere. They'd shut down their engines real low and they just kind of hover and glide over the grounds, and they see right where their infrared where they're lighting their fires up, and they'd hit their afterburners as soon as they get over them, just hit straight up in the air and just disappear and freak them out. I mean, that's the kind of pranks that I would be pulling if I was in the Air Force.
If you had access to that kind of technology.
Cadence, I mean, did you do any kind of research on the disclosure at all? Have you seen any of it? Okay. She has her own aliens that she's got to deal with. Okay, so what about Trent? Trent, what about you? Have you done any kind of research over this stuff?
I mean, it's funny because I really enjoy astronomy. I love space. And this type of stuff I'm not 100% familiar with, but at the same token, going back to what I previously said, that is there possibility of life? I mean, with the universe, there has to be. I mean, the universe is so vast. In my non-expert opinion, I believe that if we are just as developing as what other things out there, are we moving at the same pace? Are we behind? So it's interesting because if that's the case, if these aliens are here, so to speak, or discovering us, how did they trick the evolution to beat us in a sense that they're here and we're not,
Right. It makes you wonder what they have that we don't.
Well, I mean, so did anybody get to sit down and listen to the citizen hearing and disclosure back in 2013? Anybody see those videos or these hearings?
No.
I did not.
All right. Joel, did you see them?
I did not. I watched Fire in the Sky once, though.
Yeah. Dude, that movie used
Good
to
movie.
terrify me as a kid, man.
It is pretty terrifying. But no, I didn't. There's a lot of that stuff I'd like to delve into, but there's a lot of, as Ken knows, that I'm kind of researching and looking at right now. So
yeah. Well, there was a bunch of stories that came out of that citizen hearing disclosure. That, like I said, they brought high heads, officials in these military backgrounds. One of them was talking about. There it is, the fire in the sky there, Joel.
Oh man, that
Still
thing gives
creepy,
me
man.
nightmares, man.
Yeah, I
Those were the
remember that
scariest
scene.
aliens when I was a kid, dude.
I added that actual guy on Facebook. He was on Coast to Coast AM, and
Oh, I love Coast to Coast. Yeah.
I had seen that he was on Facebook, so I added him as a quote unquote friend. And been following his stuff.
Didn't they admit a while back ago that that story was a hoax, or are they still holding strong to it?
I'm not sure.
I remember
don't
hearing when I
know.
was younger
Yeah.
that it was a hoax, but I don't know.
But see, here's the thing. This is just a citizen versus someone that's in the military and all that. And, they're doing interviews with these other citizen stuff, and you're going to have different stories and different versions of what do you really believe.
Well, back when, like I was about to say, the hearing on disclosure, we had this one official that came forward, and he was talking about there was one facility that they were holding nuclear missiles, and for each one of those nuclear missiles, you had to have launch codes, you had to have the keys to release these missiles anywhere. And they said there was a fault that all their missiles started to was it not misfire, but to
Started shutting down, didn't they?
yeah, they were shutting down. Yeah, and they had an issue with someone out. There was something outside that was hovering above their Air Force, not Air Force, but the military base that,
I've seen that.
was locking them down and shutting everything down. And how do they hack into first of all, how do they hack into the frames to do that? And
So
second,
the scientist at that time, they interviewed the scientist, and he was saying that at that time there's no technology on Earth to do that to all them missiles.
yeah.
Like at the time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well,
but maybe there is that technology.
Like, we've had issues with aliens. We've been studying them. We've been trying to figure out what's going on with these UFOs. What are they? Like, where are they coming from? Are they us from the future? Are they interdimensional? Are they just in between spaces? I mean, what are they? Ever since World War II, when we were fighting Germany, and we had those what are those Foo Fighters, and then
Foo Fighters, man.
Yeah, it had the Foo Fighters. Then after the World War II ended, we split and we went into Cold War with Russia, and then we had even more issues trying to figure out what's what in the air, because we're a constant battle between what's Russian and what's us, and what's all the things in between, because we were the superpowers back then, and no one could compete with us, but we were still seeing things in the sky that we couldn't identify. And we had I got a quote here from 1960 from a former head of CIA. His name is Roscoe Hillenkotter. He said, behind the scenes, high-ranking Air Force officers are soberly concerned about UFOs, but through official secrecy and ridicule, many citizens are led to believe the unknown flying objects are nonsense. So even back then, they were trying to mislead the public in exactly what they were seeing, even though that they themselves were pretty concerned about what was going on. I know Taco, and I know Cadence here. Joel, I think I even talked to guys about my grandfather being in the CIA back in the day, and he was back in the old OSS back when they first started up, and he was mingling out and about, and he heard a lot of things. He heard a lot of talking, and one of them was the crash landing from the Roswell and what they did with the bodies, and Wright Pat Air Force Base down there in Dayton, Ohio. And I mean, there's a lot of things he was talking about that was kept hush-hush, and even people behind the scenes were even talking about it then.
He wrote a book, right?
Yeah, he did. He wrote a book, yeah.
I heard the government was using the media back then because of the Cold War and all that stuff.
Back then, not now?
Well, I mean, maybe now still. But,
no, never.
But back then, there was a technology race, man. They fucking against the Russians to go to the moon, this and that. But there was also, like, after the war, technology race during the Cold War to see, I heard they were just, like, trying to make Russia think that we got alien technology. Mm-hmm. And they would, like, release all this information on the media. So that way the KGB, Russian spies, would send it back to them. True. Saying that they recovered a spacecraft and this and that. I don't know.
Now we got this video here from Beijing. Trying to figure what this is. Sightings up in the sky.
Looks like a...
Whoa, I've never seen that.
Whoa, yeah. I've never seen that.
That looks more like interstellar types, like, I don't know, interdimensional type stuff than UFOs.
That looks like a rocket. That looks like one of those Chinese firecrackers.
That does.
Looks like something right there. Looks like something Michael Bouchot would make on his laptop.
Like that, like, I don't know. If it was one of those Chinese rockets, don't you think somebody would have been like debunked? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people that see those videos. You'd think that it would be easily debunked.
Okay, now let's think about this. Ken, I see your shirt, and I know you're hanging out with a lot of these people. Sacred geometry. What do you think? Do you think there's any correlation with that and aliens and UFOs and all that?
Oh, I believe there's
crop circles.
Well, I believe that math is, of course, a universal language itself. So, of course, if there's any kind of sacred geometry, they can communicate with anything that we use. That's the same thing they use. If we use the same numbers, they use the same numbers. If everything works together, why not? Why wouldn't they use math or geometry to work together to communicate?
Right.
If they can travel across galaxies and stuff like that, how come they can't decipher the primitive language we got if they really want to communicate?
Because it's only worth their time.
It's only like a few letters, you know what I mean?
Well, we only have like
put this on mathematical terms.
We only have a few more click-clacks, like the Africans, the Aborigines and all that. And all they do is click-clack and all that kind of weird stuff. I mean, we only have a few more vowels than they do. So these aliens, they got to be talking through their heads.
So,
was that racist? Is it racist?
I don't know. I've never heard.
We have Taco.
Like
he's Filipino.
Is
Joel.
That true?
I don't know.
Apparently,
I'm Indian and Mexican, so it works. We're good.
You are not Indian. Why do white people always say they're Indian?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. I'm on it again.
I got
All white people think they're Indians.
There we go,
pictures of my
Cadence.
ancestors to prove it.
Goddamn Irish to me, Bob.
That was great.
You are pretty pasty.
Blackfoot and
Nice.
Cherokee.
I'm not a part of this podcast.
No,
anymore.
probably, well,
This
all
is
these
just
cultures.
Ken and Talk for
The
Talk.
girl.
Here we go.
So
all
I
these
got
cultures.
I
Go
have
ahead, Trent.
kind of a good idea to think about. So let's say you are one of those extra, terrestrial type of beings, and you're coming to planet Earth. How do you know when you see the marble of Earth?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not flat, but but when you see it, who to say that the blue is not land and the brown is not water? Or to think about it in this type of aspect, like maybe what we perceive is what we can distinguish between light and like the color spectrum. What if these extraterrestrial can see in like ultraviolet, so they're more
Oh,
intense?
true. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting because other
Are
animals
we like
here
thinking
on Earth,
Predator? Is that what we're thinking of?
possibly, but I mean, there's animals here on Earth like spiders. They see in ultraviolet. What to say that these other high-powered beings don't?
They say that humans in general only hear so much sound and only see so much color. There's so much in the world right now that we live in that we don't see and we don't hear. You know what I mean? So that's saying if they're from another planet, they could be able to see and understand more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, we see in frequency and we hear in frequency. So not everything is going to be the same. There's going to be animals that can hear above and below us, and it's the same thing as seeing above and below us.
Mhm.
So us to think that we're narrow-minded enough to think that everything around the universe is going to have the same kind of specs that we have as our mentality, our vision, our senses of any sort is kind of it's redundant to even think about. We've got to think outside the box and think of like what Joel said about sacred geometry and other ways to communicate back and forth.
Well, if even aliens are from space, because I've always had like this weird theory that aliens could be coming from the ocean. Like we haven't really discovered our oceans.
I've heard
That's
that
true.
And
as well.
I'm just saying the ocean is more scary than space. You can't convince me otherwise. So if even these aliens are even coming from space, they could be like living like literally in our oceans watching us all of the time. Like
in
They could have
Atlantis.
been here the whole time.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it kind of brings the conversation into like lizard people and that like the
The reptilians.
yes.
Reptilians.
Yeah, the
Well,
Queen
think
of
about
England.
talking about spiders and ultraviolet and stuff. Think about how many of the fish, like the anglerfish, for example, in the deeper, depths of the ocean, they got that little thing that they flap around in front of their face to get other fish to come
Yeah,
in.
they're phosphorus. Naturally, they're able to produce that on their own. Nothing on Earth can do that, only under the water.
It's crazy though. How deep have we been? What's the latest recording of how deep we've been in the ocean? Does anybody know? I don't. That's why I'm asking.
There's some place in the Pacific Ocean. I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, called the Mariana Trench.
Oh yeah, the Mariana Trench. It's over by the Philippines.
Yeah, but they've done like deep sea scuba diving with these vessels because obviously the pressure is like too intense for humans to because everything will just implode.
Yeah.
But I believe it was on planet Earth. They went to the deep, and they what we perceive as ocean, but there was like a deeper version of like some other heavier water that was like in this trench, and nobody has no idea what that is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bottom line, what we're seeing right now that they're trying to just now say it's official. We have hard evidence. We got visual evidence. We have radar evidence. We have all these stories. There's so many of them. There's thousands upon thousands of experiences that people have had worldwide, and they all come to the same conclusion that it doesn't seem like it's coming from here.
Yeah.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're just military. That's my
Military?
opinion.
It was military.
Yeah.
Military, like what? That doesn't make sense. I mean,
Military aliens.
Yeah, we
I
can
don't-
all be right.
we could all be right.
I think
Right.
aliens would have to actually come here, like onto Earth, to study us. I feel like
It
they could
can't
do
be
that
any
from
worse than
afar.
gosh, what's that movie? Space Troopers? Is that what it is? With the bugs?
Starship
Troopers.
Troopers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That concept blows my mind. I mean,
like
but,
it.
you know, then
You
again,
gotta do your duty and serve.
That's a whole other subject too, man. Like just talking about society and the patriotism and stuff, and how you know how far is too far when it comes to being a patriot and all that. You know, and that's why I find this stuff interesting as far as the videos, because it's like, do they really want us to see something, or is it again looking the other direction and
misdirection? Yeah,
jibber jabbing because it's so fascinating.
Well, I think we can all say that aliens, UFOs, there's going to be a lot of unknowns throughout our life that we may never find out the answer until our time is up and move on to the next world. But I think it's safe to say that the truth is out there. No pun intended. If anybody likes X-Files. But all right, so Carrie, anything new that's going on in your schedule?
So far I don't have anything scheduled interview-wise or anything. I know I'll probably be talking to people on Record Store Day, June 20th at Gromie's. Hopefully, if sanity prevails and the world is allowed to reopen. So I'll be definitely talking to people and hopefully interviewing a few bands while I'm there as well.
Well, Joel, do you have any projects? And I know you got a podcast, you have music, you've been doing a lot with your producing as well. What do you got going on up your sleeve?
Oh gosh, this was all during shutdown before I started working again. So we'll see how it goes. But I do plan on producing, finally getting vocals down for Mahalath, which thanks so much, guys, for playing the music. It's been pretty cool to hear it on here.
Our pleasure.
Appreciate it, man. And the podcast is going to be called, hopefully, when it's all said and done, we'll brand it as Blue Collar Idiots. Because me and my buddy Scott, we just in the break rooms in the morning, during the morning meetings, like basically before we can interrupt and all that. We just talk about the dumbest things, and I just wish I would have written all that down, because some of this stuff is just gold. And he's one of them really like dry humor guys. So it's just hilarious coming from his perspective, and he's like 10 years older than me, So he's got a different perspective altogether. He's lived a lot longer and knows a little bit more, and it's just funny. The hilarity ensues when we're just talking about dumb stuff, like articles about, for example, women being in and stuff like that. It's just funny. You just got to be there. I know it's not funny to you guys hearing it.
Where can we find your music? Where can we find your music at there, Joel?
ReverbNation.com/Mahalath. Mahalath. Yeah. So I'm getting tired, man. I'm rambling.
No, you're good. Well, Taco, anything up your alley?
Yeah.
We got a little bit of time. We got about a minute and a half left here to use up. So, try to use about 30 seconds.
Hitting the recording studio with Jacob Mooney. We're going to be finishing up Booger Breath's first single. Yep. It's about cocaine and hookers. I think I'm joking, but yeah, it is. We're doing a bunch of raunchy stuff, a bunch of hardcore punk rock stuff. We'll be in Mooney's Thursday and Friday, finishing up some tracks. Hopefully have some stuff to promote here soon for everyone.
Sweetness. Well, we can't wait to hear it and put it out there. And what about you, Trent? Anything going on?
I'll make this quick. Tomorrow we're going to have our first band practice in 6 weeks. So there's that.
And that's with Henodus?
Yep.
All right. Real quick, want to toss out where you can find that stuff?
Yeah, check us out on Instagram, Facebook. Henodus sucks.
Henodus sucks. All right, everybody.
S-U-X.
S-U-X, yeah, S-U-X. Henodus sucks, S-U-X.
Because, we suck.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for this evening and for Time for Tacos and discussing this whole UFO disclosure with the DOD. And hopefully you guys can join us again next time. I'm Ken.
I'm Cadence.
We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Later.
listening to a ZTOTV podcast. You can find all our shows on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcast entertainment simply by searching ZTOTV. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to rate and review because it really helps us out.
ZTOTV podcasts. Low quality, high content.
ZTOTV. Artists, comedians, musicians, assholes.